Hi, my name is Lindsay Schrubiner. I'm a volunteer with Chinese Staff and Workers Association and a recent graduate of Barnard College. At Barnard, I saw firsthand how the rezoning of West Harlem was pushed through without the consent of the local community in Community District 9, and I'm concerned that this process is being repeated in Community District 3. I'm opposed to this rezoning plan because it is racist in both its impact and in the process by which it was developed. This plan was created without the participation of most of the Community District 3 community, and specifically excluded people of color from the planning process. There was no real outreach to Chinese and Latino communities during this process. We collected 11,000 signatures in support of our petition opposing this racist plan, and almost no one had any prior knowledge of the plan before we told them about it. If a sample of 11,000 CD3 residents had no idea that this plan even existed, so close to the plan's completion, clearly any outreach that was conducted was not nearly sufficient. In addition, there was no translation into Chinese or Spanish during Community Board 3 meetings discussing the rezoning plan. Even if local Chinatown or LES residents had somehow found out about the rezoning plan, they would have had no way to participate in its creation. Even the name of the rezoning committee at CB3, the 197 Task Force, is completely unintelligible to someone unfamiliar with planning jargon. Clearly, this process was not meant to encourage broad-based participation. Since we found out about this plan in January, we attempted to discuss its flaws with those involved in its creation. We attended CB3 meetings where people told us it was too late to include Chinatown and LES communities and Chinatown and LES needs in the plan. When we attended CB3's public hearing on the plan, we demanded translation, but it was refused. It is inconceivable that CB3 did not have enough money to provide translation, given that they had roughly $2 million to complete the plan, although that was their excuse for not providing translation. We repeatedly tried to schedule a meeting with Manhattan Borough President Scott Stringer, but it took a protest in front of his office to even get him to hear us out. He still did not consider the needs of Chinatown and LES communities in his response to the plan. When we met with the Department of City Planning in April, they also refused to take our concerns into consideration. The rezoning process in New York is fundamentally flawed. Although ULURP is supposed to be a reform measure, I saw in West Harlem that a bad plan can be pushed through despite the prolonged organized resistance of the local residents from the very beginning of the plan. Even though Community Board 9 voted against the rezoning in West Harlem and hundreds of local residents testified against it at every step of the ULURP process, the elected officials sold us out. But West Harlem is only one example of this. All over the city, unpopular plans are being pushed through by developers and other special interests, gentrifying the city and pushing working people and people of color out. The exclusion of Chinese and Latino communities in this planning process is a terrible mistake on the part of the community board, the borough president, the Department of City Planning, and the local elected officials, and they should all be held responsible for their actions. We call on them to stop this racist plan and join with us and all CD3 residents to create a new plan for the entire community, one that protects the East Village rather than upzoning it and extends these protections to the entire community district. A separate plan for Chinatown will exclude...
Could you conclude your remarks, please?
Will exclude Black and Latino residents of the Lower East Side and will further divide this community.